Something that's been on my mind for, I would say, about going into 3 years now. And today is the 13th of March, 2026. And we are here in the lovely island of Nassau, the Bahamas, which is home for me. And I just came to a random beach. But what I was thinking about, what I think that no one speaks about much regarding leadership is psychological safety for leaders. I shared with you in a previous video that I have a master's in leadership and healthcare. And truly, that course, that was an intense course, y'all. Truly, that course has gone beyond I feel like the boundaries of healthcare and could be applied in all industries. One of the concepts that I was introduced to at that point and really appreciated was psychological safety. So I'm not going to I'm not going to geek out and give some academically, nuanced definition of safety, psychological safety. I just want to bring it up to so that, we have context for this conversation and where my thoughts are going. So psychological safety is one of those pillars within the organizational culture itself, where employees feel, let's not use the same word, right? That was like a rule at some point. Well, hey, rules are meant to be not always followed. But yeah, employees feel confident enough to either voice, there's a boat, let's see, either voice their opinion, their perspectives, their viewpoints, or voice a truth, especially pertaining to the company, the organization, without fear that it's going to lead to repercussions, all because of they spoke up. And I want to separate at this point that in the instances where, say, the employee speaks up about a mistake that was made, like they made a big mistake, and because of the mistake, the company suffers some level of loss or something negative sort of thing, right? It's not to say that that person gets off scot-free, like, hey, a culture of psychological safety. I can speak up. That was that was a little extra word there, but yeah, I can mess up, I can make a mistake, and nothing's gonna happen, sort of thing. It's all good. Nothing, I don't have to be responsible. So it's not in that light. It's like I feel so confident that I could speak up about a mistake that I made, knowing that there are going to be consequences for that mistake. But I respect my company so much because I know it's not going to be in a matter where it's going to shame me or degrade me or humiliate me, insult me in front of others. My company, we are about learning and preventing, all so that the mistake wouldn't happen again, or certain checkpoints could be put in place so that this mistake does not happen again. Like, and what I appreciated too, which I thought was very interesting when I learned about psychological safety, was that psychological safety goes both ways. It's not just safety for the employee, it's also safety of the organization. It goes very closely with the psychological contract, which is an unspoken expectation. Get that? It's an invisible expectation that you have my best interest as with me being your employee, and then the organization has this also. We have expectations being your employer that you have this company's best interest at heart. And I think that's lovely and fair. I think, why should it remain invisible? But some things we do formulate inside our heads, being human, and just assume that what we think should be, and myself included. It's like some things shouldn't have to be written down. Some things should just be expected. And same way from the viewpoint of the organization. As employees, like some things should just be obvious. It shouldn't have to be a rule. It's like, come on, like you work here. But either which way, the focus of my thoughts for this, now that we got that part out of the way, is let me see if I could somehow place this somewhere. Is why is it so much emphasis in the literature? Because I actually did my dissertation on the topic of psychological safety in leadership, because and I had to like adjust it a bit because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I thought, how sucky. Sorry guys, you are getting like unfiltered version of me. No explicits, just raw thoughts here. But how is it that it's and I guess they group leaders in the same population as the employees. I mean, leaders are employees, right? But I feel like with all that comes with being a leader, the responsibilities that I feel shift and could change and morph outside of the initial written contract sort of thing. It's like leaders have to step up when things come up. They have to be flexible. You can't necessarily list all of the responsibilities of a leader specifically. You might blanket statements of stuff, and if you have a responsible leader, they don't go to stop and say, was this in the contract that I signed? Nope. All right. This has nothing to do with me. Like that. You don't want that kind of leader. You don't want to set that tone. You would, as an organization, you would want to have employees, whatever the grade of the staff, who go beyond what is in their contract, again, doing what is right for the organization. So the organization has the safety, and many times I feel, with that being said, employees more likely tend to do their best for the organization. Most tend to, as opposed to saying the organization reciprocates that. Yeah, here we go, touching some sore points for myself. Therefore, to say like the organization isn't, I feel, as active, or there is a lot more room for organizations to do similar, where They just step beyond whatever the contract said and do right by their employees. So I told myself, at some point, I want to be a part of this conversation, research, movement, whatever we want to call it, where there is a specific element, psychological safety for leaders. And as I was pondering on that, like, what would that look like? Is it just going to be the extension of psychological safety and it just say for leaders? Or, it's like, no, it can't be motorbike. One sec. I have to work on getting my muffler for my mic. But either which way. So my thoughts about what it would mean having psychological safety for leaders is that it actually stems from the individual leader. So like most concepts, it could be categorized, at different levels. But I feel like, well, today what I want to start off talking about is personal psychological safety for the leader. Does the leader feel like they could be able to uh, commit to their workplace responsibilities without abandoning who they are as a person, as a human being? Does this leader give him or herself permission to still exist as their unique, authentic self in the workplace without just ab- ignoring, what makes them feel alive, excited for life, fulfilled in life, joyful in what they're doing, in whatever manner that is, sort of thing. Yeah, because I shared on another video where there was a point in my life where I had realized I abandoned myself along the way to success to get things done. And that's like just focusing on what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next that I have to do, rather than keeping myself and my needs just being who I am on the table, yet alone at the top of the list. And I find that as I observe my workplace, that this happens more than we perhaps are aware of, that we just consider leaders people who get things done. You have a problem, as a staff, take it to the leader. And as the leader, you just expect that throughout your day, you are going to have to deal with, dynamic needs of the company. Again, that might even step outside of your initial contract. Probably wouldn't even think of that. Just know that, hey, anything could happen today and it's going to be on me to get it, sorted out. And as we in circumstances, what happens if a leader does not have psychological safety where they feel like they trust themselves to exist as who they were created to be, even in the workplace. So, again, the importance of integrating our work and non work elements. And people call it life, but I feel like, work is part of life. So, why don't we just call it life? Life balance, not work life balance. And, balance itself has expectations upon it that it's leveled off. So they came up with harmony. That sounds so that sounds happy, right? And I I know that it is for what I'm building with Happy Healthy Transform. And already I have started designing specific restorative experiences for leaders. I've already started doing this some years ago, even before, it's come to this point in this shape of in my awareness, where leaders could just come in and be themselves and not have to have some ultimate high stake result, you know? They could just exist as themselves and allow what it is that they're doing to come forth from their amazing capacity that already exists in them. So I feel too, it's not that we need larger capacities to even take on what I'm describing, remaining emotionally sovereign. Mm. Emotionally sovereign, as in you have all power, you have all power and control to feel how you're feeling at any given time. Let's come under a tree a little. So, yeah, it just goes to say that this concept that has, rested on me is very much relevant, but also I think it's not going to be like that level simple. It's going to take crafting, looking at what it is that the leader needs to feel confident, first starting with him or herself, so that they could model what psychological safety in the workplace, take it to the next level, not just going by what already exists in the literature right now. Take it to the next level. Why not? It's 2026. It's like invisible money is backed by real money and people get paid, like, and then you have cars that drive themselves, or at least, they're working on it. Like, why is it that we can't have where some elements of leadership in the workplace, why can't that be elevated? Why not? Mm. Ah. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. That's what I'll continue to work on. That's what I'm going to be bringing forth to those of you who are on this journey with me. And I extend that invitation for you to continue with me on this journey where we craft and elevate the way that we experience leadership so that we could attract, well, first, so that we could better steward those who are currently in leadership positions, but also so that we could make leadership attractive again, and not just for the money. You know, I listened to an impactful speaker maybe a few days ago online, and he pointed out that money is important because we need money in order to do and in order to have. But going beyond the money, we can make leadership attractive where persons want to tap into their divine purpose for life. What is it that they were created for, to exist in this time? What problem it is that they were meant to address? And, by the time that they die, the problem either no longer exists, or, the problem is like dramatically improved, and just could be handed off to the other person who is rightfully saying, yes, I'm going to take this to the next level. Evolution, guys, leadership evolution. We have to make leadership attractive again. I'm thinking about right now, maybe in the past 2 years, we've had one of our departments meetings that included our organizational administrators, and they were looking to attract more positions in leadership roles. And at the time, I was in clinic, called in on Zoom rather than being there in person. I thought, oh, this is like the one meeting that I actually would have liked to be there in person for, because they're talking about something that I'm so passionate about, giving us the opportunity to bring our strengths and our unique abilities to embetter the organization, but also to embetter our experience of working. Gone are the times where you just work and then you go home and get paid. It's like now we have the ability to have joy in the workplace, and ensure that we get fulfilled and have personal satisfaction from that alone. Like, let's talk more about that. Hmm. And it all starts with us, each and every one of us as individuals, and then together as a group of persons who have killed off all other possibilities, just barging the way forward, unapologetically, making psychological safety for leaders a non-negotiable, and not just some fluffy, nice sounding thing, but really bringing this forth. And as I'm on this journey, I just want to document along the way how this is going to enhance the way that we lead. And I'm excited for it. And if you are excited for, where this could go, come and join me. Let's get connected. Let's share our thoughts because I can't do this alone, you guys. And I'm not meant to do this alone. I do believe that the fact that you've made it this far in this video, that there is something unique within you that you bring to this much needed area of what it means to in organization. I have the restorative element. What is it that you have in you? So literally ask yourself, what is it that you could do starting even now for yourself? So my if I were to leave you with a practical I don't say it's a tool, but a thought to think about and really dive deep is where in your current way of working or leading are you abandoning yourself? Where have you abandoned yourself? Where have you been so focused on getting the thing done that you forgot yourself way back there, somewhere into the ocean? Where is it that you don't feel one of my clients told me that she felt like her light was dimming, like what makes her was becoming less and less bright every day she showed up on the job. And that broke my heart. So where is it that you feel like your light is being dimmed? And to go a step further from there, once you identify where it is that you have, neglected your needs as a human being, what is one one act that you could commit to right now where you put yourself back on your agenda? Talking to my executives out there, where we can put ourselves back on our agendas again, even if it's something that takes up a small short amount of time, or it just takes a small little tweak in your environment or your workflow, especially on the job. Now, how could you start and then commit to it? Do it. And I'd love to hear what it is that you do decide to do. So go ahead and share with us, leaving a comment below in this video here, and reach out to me. So I've left links now in the description where you could join in and be a part of this amazing movement that we are creating together, because leadership is human first. And at Happy Healthy Transform, we are all about sustaining the human behind the leadership rule. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy Healthy Transform. Take back your happy, take back your health, and be transformed.